What's
Dude.
up? Are we
Appreciate.
we on?
Yeah, we're live. We're doing it live.
Gotcha. Okay.
welcome. Sorry the timing was a little misconstrued, but glad we were able to make it on. And I see you got your horns on. Lee was telling me about that, and I think I saw you had them on when I hopped into her podcast. So
They're
let's hop right
installed.
in. They're
This
installed.
is
Oh shoot! I didn't even notice that. That's sick. Awesome. How did you go in and make like a 3D render to be able to clip it on?
somebody
Or
did.
somebody
It's
did.
like Velcroed. Like they got slots where like a Velcro loop kind of goes under. So I guess that's because there's all different kinds of sizes of these, headphones.
you.
So they want it to be adjustable. But I got it off like TikTok Shop. So
It's one of those that actually works.
yeah.
I feel like TikTok Shop is now kind of like the as seen on TV. You don't know what you're actually gonna get.
Yeah.
Or like the X-ray specs at the back of a comic book that are like $3. Well, I got to reading. Lee let me borrow both of these.
Oh,
Got
nice.
reading both, and got to say, very fascinating, very interesting. And I love the art style. Feels very gothic. And wanted to kind of ask. I know we talked before about Attack on Titan as being a huge influence on the art style and just in general for you. But how did development for MV come into being?
Well, I've always wanted to tell stories. I've always wanted to make comics. I've always wanted to be in the art industry, art field in some way, some form. And when I first started Envy, I don't remember if I mentioned the webtoon phase. I probably did.
Yes.
But webtoons was just such like it's like if you wanted to be a YouTuber and you were like a sketch comedy kind of person and you posted your first sketch like comedy on YouTube and it gets like 200 views and like 2 comments and you're like, oh wow, I could actually like do something with this. And I liked what I made, So that's what posting on webtoons for the first time was like for me. It was like, oh, I can actually just do this. Like it's that simple. Like, it's as simple as like having to go to YouTube and be like, how do I make a vertical scroll comic? Okay.
Yeah.
How do I make, what is the process for XYZ? And then you just kind of cherry pick what you need and then it starts. So
I saw he just pulled up the Kickstarter. We talked about this a couple of days ago. You have met your Kickstarter goal to be able to fund the next chapter in the series. Tell us about that.
So the way Kickstarter works is you have a funding goal and you do not get any money if that funding goal is not reached. So I got that funding goal last Friday night. I had a super awesome, like, just cascade of events. Katie, that I know from K-Pop Junkie, she is an indie comic like review and like interviewer. So she is like interviewing like 20 to 30 people a month.
Wow.
It seems like just doing indie comics on Kickstarter, just a cycle of them. And she had saw an opening for me for somebody that had canceled on a different show. So she reached out and I was like going to try and get on that show, but I couldn't, had some plans. And it fell through, but they went on and they promoted it. And I got 3 backers from that. and one of them backed like the big bundle, the King bundle for all the variant covers. And then on that same night, I met up with Rock and Robbie from the Pop Culture Philosophers YouTube channel. And we were just hanging out. We were at the karaoke bar, having some drinks. My other mentor, Kevin Stokes, was there, and we were just having a good time. And then Robbie had a friend, Nestor, that had tagged along with them. And man, I don't know what Nestor does. I don't know how he makes money, but apparently he's bailed these guys out on several occasions.
Okay.
Not like out of jail, but like in tight
Yeah.
situations with financials. And
Mm-hmm.
the guy just looked at was like getting interested in what I was doing and stuff. And I was like, oh, I make comics. I got a Kickstarter going on right now. He's like, you got a Kickstarter? What is it? Let me check it out. And he pulls it up on his phone, and he's like, oh, dude, you're almost funded, man. You're almost funded. Let's try and get you funded. And I was like, whoa, okay. And
Awesome.
he also backed the Big King bundle. And then he's like, shoot, we didn't get you there funded. Robbie, why don't you back him? And Robbie was like, what? I get the comics for free. I had him on my channel. And he's like, he's your friend. Back him, Robbie. So Robbie got me over the funding goal. And
that's awesome.
And since then, a lot of people have still been pitching in, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's that's the hope, is that like it keeps going is for as long as you can get it to go. So anybody still interested in pledging, pledge now. You got 62 hours left, and I've got $1,000 raised. So that means I've got both these rewards unlocked. This funding reward was just kind of a impromptu reward because I was going to be printing this anyways. I wanted to have this sticker made for my booth, so I'm going to get 50 or 70 of them printed. So I thought this would be a good reward for people backing, and if we funded. And then this is the $1,000 stretch goal reward. This is the Baptism of Belial glow in the dark sticker, and we officially hit it. I wasn't expecting to hit it. I looked at the page this morning and saw that we reached over 1,000 last night. And I was like, wow, okay. So we officially got there. I wasn't expecting to really hit it until like maybe Free Comic Book Day. But with that being said, we still have other stretch goals, and I would be super excited to hit those. The next one is the Pandemonium Gym Starter Guide, and that is going to be a digital reward. So everybody that's backing, no matter where you're at, or if you're backing even just a digital reward, then you will get this reward too. Unfortunately, the stickers are not going to be going to people backing digital stuff. It's just the way it's going to work. But if you got to this funding goal, you will also get this starter guide. And so I'm super excited about that. And to my surprise also is that we only have 2 of the King bundle left. So if you want to jump in on that, you need to jump in on it, because I'm going to be set up at the Deep on Free Comic Book Day. And this first variant cover will definitely be sold by the end of the day on Free Comic Book Day, unless you go ahead and pledge and I sell out of them all, for the Kickstarter, then I won't be putting them up for sale. This bundle will no longer be available after Saturday morning. However, I do have late pledges activated. So people still interested in getting stuff up until Monday will still be able to. However, it will be more expensive. Everything will be up about 10-15% in price. So that was my quick spiel about our funding goal and what has been going on these past few days.
I'm totally stoked for you, man. It's all coming together, and that's a huge surprise. I know you were saying you want some of these additional goals met, and you're able to get there, and there's potential that you could get even further. So I'm really excited on that end for you. And did not know you were working on another one as well. Saw that you had that in there, that little the Western style comic. So
yes, that
eager to
is
see some of that. Hoping that comes out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's gonna come out. That's gonna be fun. I'm trying. I have not heard back from that Bob Gimlin guy that is the Bob Gimlin channel for Bigfoot sightings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No big deal. He could never reach out to me again. He could reach out to me in 6 months. It is what it is. But if he gets to me soon, I might be trying to get him in a collaborative, co-write editor kind of thing for doing my Western Bigfoot, because there's an episode that he released that a lot of the story is gonna kind of originate from, having to do with the Hudson Bay Company and one of the very first alleged photographs of a dead Bigfoot. So
That's cool.
it's fun. And like a cover up by them because they were like basically a nation. So yeah.
Awesome. So I don't think we've really dived into the comic itself. Tell us about it. I'll let you tell everyone about it, not spoil anything.
So we have our druid, Fritz, get visions from Satan that she can help summon the kings of hell, or one of the kings, and she will be granted a power, an ultimate druid status, to fulfill this vision. And so she's crazy enough to do that, and Satan knew that she would be Lucifer knew that she would be crazy enough to do that. So she has Envy summoned to our reality. As I said, Lucifer's trying to set into motion his conquest into our world, and then the Archangel Michael intervenes, and I will be including some lore for Belial in the issue number 3, and it's really interesting how this coincidentally lined up. But Belial and Michael have like a rivalry, like a specific rivalry, according to like the Kabbalah. So that really worked out well. And but yeah, she's summoned and has to fight Michael. Michael beats her. She is now having being dusted in to ethereal form and going to have to reincarnate. But her summoner Fritz grabs her hand, and they have to have a deep conversation about being turned into a human, and she agrees to it. So then Envy transforms into a human, and now she has to know what it means to be a human in order to become a full-on demon again. So that's kind of the quest in the midst all the conquest going on, and there are more demons. There's more fights that are being set up. So that's pretty much what it is. It's I added in to this title, and I don't know if that had anything to do with some of these later pledges, but I think it describes it pretty well. It's a supernatural action horror kind of genre, and like I've said before, it's like Attack on Titan kind of meets Gargoyles.
Yeah, and I remember we had talked about that being like one of your favorite shows, and it definitely kind of gives that kind of, like I said, the gothic sense of the art styling. It gives that kind of vibe. I have not read Attack on Titan, but I will look into it. I know we were talking about this as well. Looks like it looks like a great show as well as manga, and I've had countless friends tell me and push me to watch it or read it, one of the two.
It's my all-time fave. It's Game of Thrones, as far as being a story, was going to be the all-time fave, and then they just took a huge dump on that. So, Attack on Titan was easily the next one up. So,
yeah, yeah, they definitely took a dump on it. That was bad. But tell us, so Attack on Titan being one of your inspirations, tell us some of your artists and or artistic inspirations that you've grown to like along the way.
So like I said in one of our previous shows for the paranormal community, there were a lot of like just regular cartoons. You're wearing a perfect example of a shirt. Ed, Edd n Eddy,
Yeah.
Courage the Cowardly Dog. Those were like my top faves. Then there was, Dexter's Lab and stuff like that. As far as comics went, back in 2015, I started collecting Silk and Spider-Gwen.
Okay.
I collected a lot of those. And then once I saw that Marvel and DC continue to have like resets in their universe, I was like, never mind. I don't want to be putting my money into this. That seems like a Sisyphus moment. So I like to stick with manga and anime, primarily anime. Huge influences coming from Soul Eater as well. Full Metal Alchemist. It's got to have paranormal. It's got to have action. I like things to be a little horrific. So
yeah, like a little bit of gore toss in there.
Mm-hmm.
It makes for a fun time.
Yeah.
And it adds a craziness element that like I think that's what got me into Chainsaw Man.
Mm-hmm.
Is just how horrific it could get, but also like there being a small sense of hope on the back end for the main characters.
And you just don't see like the big two in our Western world doing stuff like that, or at least I haven't. A man with a big chainsaw for a head and chainsaw arms and big spiky teeth that's over the top, and then this mysterious redheaded Men in Black kind of woman that can resurrect herself. Like, what?
That's so accurate. I didn't even think about that.
And then there's Parasite, where this parasite is in you and your body can just morph into anything, and there's always this eye and it has a mind of its own. And then it's like these ideas are not being explored here, like or at least not to my knowledge, not from Marvel, not from DC.
No, they're not taken. They're very abstract out in Japan and Korea with their design elements, and I mean they built off of it from one like the bones of like One Piece and oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Not Inuyasha, no. Inuyasha's kind of corny. Now that I think about it,
it's quite corny.
It's quite corny.
I mean, so Sailor Moon a little bit.
It is, and Naruto.
They're meant to be, I think.
Yeah, I think that kind of is part of the gimmick.
To be cringe is to be free.
You gotta trust in the heart of the cards.
Yes.
With friends, anything's possible.
That's where the magic is.
Yeah. So when you're designing all these, where do you think the most of the design element comes from? By hand, digitally, or by hand or digitally? I guess that's really the only.
I like to try and flesh out the energy from like drawing with my first with my hand. Because when you're using a pencil, something about it just seems so much more um, disposable, and
Mm-hmm.
the more of that disposable feeling you can kind of have, the more you're willing to kind of put some expression in there. And
Okay.
then when I bring it into digital stuff, I really just try to fix funky looking stuff. Like if it just looks too weird, I try to fix it, and flip it. And what I've discovered recently, I didn't used to do this, but for the past 2 or 3 months, I've been using the pencil tool in Clip Studio, and that also, for whatever reason, feels like it's disposable. So I can kind of maintain that first pass on when I sketch it again. If I
Mm-hmm.
use that pencil tool, not it goes really fast, because again, it feels like I'm just doing a little doodle. But also I can fill in the dark areas like really fast and not have to feel like it has to be so perfect. And that kind of
Gotcha.
helps that ink um, be more certain as to where that ink is going to be when you start on. And I say ink,
Yeah.
but like the black
Yeah.
and the brush tool that you're using for whatever your drawing software is.
So Clip Studio, is that like an Android or Apple app or something?
It's a universal app, and it's not. It's a program, and then I think it can be an app on like a device, but it's
Okay.
one of your primary drawing programs. It's really made for animation and comics, so it's
Oh,
got like easy access stuff. I have it. I can't tell you like the hunt and the frustration that I had to go through trying to find like tone for Photoshop. So
mm-hmm.
you know how there's uh, screen tones for manga that are just kind of layered uh, onto the page to kind of show the darks and the lights and
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
dots. It's like
Yeah.
newsprint. Um, well, Photoshop wasn't like supporting any brushes like that, or at least I couldn't find them. It was hard.
Yeah.
I finally found something that was close, but it wasn't exactly what I was going for. But I got into Clip Studio Paint, and they have a whole screen tone tool that has different versions of screen tone, and different patterns of screen tone, and then you can control the density, the DPI, and all this stuff with it. Like it's so nice. I was just when I found that tool on this, I was like, this is my new program that I'm
Yeah.
using. Nothing will take me back. But it also has like bubble, dialogue bubble tools.
Oh,
Um,
sick.
it has like action lines.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need some action lines in the background that are just very straight, and you kind of find where the center is, and it's just so much user friendly for my style, especially.
Awesome. I like that. Yeah, I'd always wondered because I mean I know you got like some apps that you use and people have like the magic pen on like an iPad and they'll sit there. I've seen people draw on that before, but I didn't know like what else is out there, and that's something new to me.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah. I think it's one of Japan's favorite, because it comes from Japan for manga creators, so that's why it
oh,
just works so well for me. But it's growing in popularity. But like, it used to be called Manga Studio or Clip
hmm,
Studio, and it was like the next best thing to Photoshop. And then now they have a subscription base, and it's like way cheaper. So works out.
Sick.
And but there's other things like Krita, GIMP, Procreate on the iPad. So
Yeah, GIMP is what I use sometimes when I want to experiment a little bit and trying to figure out how to create background overlays and stuff to potentially use on here. So collaborations. I know you had a variant cover. Have you got any collaborations planned up ahead? Or do you have an idea aside? I know you talked to us about one of them, but do you have an idea of who else you'd like to work with, or something that you could maybe give a sneak peek on?
Well, I've got some local friends that are really good artists, and like Kevin is one of them. Kevin would probably gladly do a one-off cover for me. I've got a friend named Jamie, and she's doing like a really cool tarot deck coming up here soon.
Sick.
And she works so well she does everything traditional, and she has a very steady hand, or at least I think she does, because when she puts ink to paper, it's very deliberate. Like, she knows how her patterns are going to look and how the curvy the lines are. It's impressive. I just don't draw like that. And then vice versa, like I have to redraw the same thing like 4 times before the page is done. Like, the same general idea of a drawing has to be done like 4 to 5 times. And she's like, I cannot redraw stuff over and over. And I get that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
for like tracing, but you gotta, it takes a
Yeah.
little finesse.
Yeah. And so you talk about like maybe, so when you do it 4 times, are you drawing the general outline of the character and then building elements on top of it as you go, or actually drawing a light design, then going and drawing a harder and harder and harder design?
Yeah. So the basic idea is tightening it up, and elements can be added as you do it. You kind of want to make sure that like the idea of the fabric of whatever it is, or the texture is kind of there, even on your first pass. But yeah, that first layer is like really trying to figure out the skeleton and position. And then you will lightly kind of put like where detail might be, but it's so like your first few drawings are so disposable. It's just kind of like, this might be where it goes, and then as it manifests, you're like, okay, this needs to be like up here a little bit, and then this can go here a little bit, her arm can do this a little bit, so
Yeah.
it's just about tightening up where you want those lines. And I was fighting a battle when I first trained. I had a Wacom tablet that was like just attach it to any computer, and you could use the tablet on a computer, but it came with like 3 cords that you had to plug up: a power cable, the USB, the HDMI, and it's kind of a hassle to get out all the time. So I finally invested in a laptop that like folds, so it can also be a touch screen tablet. So I got me a Samsung that does that, and it is amazing. And especially now, I think after 2022, a lot of the devices just have like a single USB-C plug just to charge it. So I don't have this big box of a battery charger and then the big 3-prong cord and
Yeah,
these bulky
like a
wires
floating
stuff.
power supply.
Yeah. And it's just made production a lot better. But like, I had to go through this learning curve of how dense the lines are, because when you're using the the tablet, you could kind of look up at the screen at a distance and see, because like it's on my screen close to me, but I can also look up and have like a different kind of perspective of what I was looking at because it was on two
Oh yeah,
screens.
because it's on.
Hmm.
Yeah, gotcha.
And now it's all on one screen. It's the computer and the tablet. So I kind of made all my lines super thin, and it took me forever because I was just trying to make those lines so tight, and I could see all the details, and it was just I just had to like kind of make that mistake and then revisit it because I was like, something's weird about what I've made, like these 4 pages. Like, there's just something weird, and I was like, I think I just need to thicken these lines, and I did. I had to thicken the lines, put some more shadows, because I could see more detail up close, which was kind of skewing how I was looking at the whole thing.
I gotcha. Yeah, because you can see a lot more stuff, I guess, because you can
Mhm.
zoom in digitally. Whereas if you were just working on paper, you're not going to really think too much about it.
Hmm.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you're
Um,
much more looser when you have a broader view of what you're drawing.
oh, I don't doubt it. uh, um, so are there particular like themes or characters in this that you enjoy drawing more than others?
um, there are characters that like I kind of don't like because like I don't know them, if that makes sense. Like they're kind of in the
Okay.
background still.
Yeah.
So like in issue 3, there's like the Native American tribe, and there's only one guy that I'm kind of focusing on, and then there was like 2 others involved, and those 2 others, I don't really have like a place for them in the
Hmm.
story, so they just feel kind of in the way to draw, which sounds bad, but um, but I needed that dialogue for that one character, and I need these other characters to have a little bit of weight to one of the main characters, and that's something that like I didn't really like about like One Piece. Was sometimes they or sometimes all the time they explore the backstory of like this one-off character, and like I once the bad thing happens to that character, or once the purpose of that character kind of comes to the front, um you get it. Like you're like, oh, all this backstory just, you know, makes so much more sense. But like when they start the backstory, I'm just like, oh my god, another character, another one. There's like 700 characters in the show. I can't care about them all.
Let's take you on a journey for 30 minutes to give
Yeah.
you a 3-minute point.
But like, you know, it's necessary. I think, you know, like I've said, I've been watching with One Piece in particular. One Piece really helps because you just get so much silence cut out, so much of a moment that isn't necessary cut out, and when you do that, it's so much easier to just ingest all these characters
Yeah.
and not have to feel like, because it's already, if you're watching regular, it's already dragging on. But you know, that's what it kind of feels like when you're drawing a page. It takes 8 to 10 hours to draw a page, and or at least it does for me. It's different for everyone, but for
Right.
me, at the moment, it takes about 8 to 10 hours, and so you're having to kind of come to understand this character in that 8 to 10 hours per page. So if they're on like 4 pages, that 8 multiplies times 4, and
Yeah.
so that's kind of one of the drawbacks of like doing a comic by yourself is you don't really um have a good sense of pacing, really, because it takes a minute or two to get past 4 pages when you're reading it, but when you're spending 36 hours on 4 pages, it seems like it's forever. So
I don't doubt it. But it's crisp and it's cleanly drawn too. So like it doesn't look like something that was thrown together. And that's the difference too. You're putting a lot of effort, care, and thought into each page, and you're going to get a better product like that. Yeah, I think this is like, I was going to say, this is like one of my favorite shots because it felt like it was a picture taken, but where he's kneeling down after appearing in. It kind of gave me a Scott Pilgrim vibe. like when what was it? The Todd with the vegan powers. And just the way it emanated out, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's my new Todd."
And that's kind of like, that was one of the really fun ones, the really fun panels that I got to do. So I look forward to those setting up the action moments. Those are like the moments that like you're listening to music and it's like just flowing in your head, like the whole scenario of whatever's happening. And like I already have a whole bunch of that for like issue number 4, and I'm so excited to get into issue number 4, but I'm like, I got to make sure that I finish issue number 3 correctly. Like I'm gonna ahead of myself, and like I can't think about it too much too, because then my steam is kind of like out by the time I get to it, because I had so much like hype that steamed out, I guess you could say. It's a weird thing.
How do you approach designing like a new character?
I wing it.
Just flesh it out, just like.
So far, I wing it.
Okay.
I feel so. This is one of those do as I say, not as I do kind of situations. I wouldn't recommend doing that.
Yeah.
But I actually was. I'm in this Discord with Comic Lab guys, and they've got some of their high-end cartoonist buddies in there. One of them, Scott Kurtz, he does this little strip. I don't want to belittle it. It's not a little strip. It's a big following. He has a really good following for this strip called PvP. I think it's a D&D. I really haven't read it, but I know of him because of the Comic Lab situation. But he's in there, and Scott was doing. Oh shoot! I can't remember the point. I got past it. Oh yeah, the character design. So he was like showing us this project that he's got coming up, and he's like, "I'm not inking anything. I'm doing all the pages in sketches, because by the time I get to the end, I will have a better understanding of the characters. And so when I go to ink it, I can go back to the first page, or when that character makes his first appearance, and I'll have a better understanding of how I'm going to draw him, because I got so muscle memoried into how I drew him in just the sketches throughout these 20 or 30 pages. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't have thought to do that.
But I would recommend making some sketches, and I do that on occasion. But like trying to kind of play with like going to Pinterest or Google and trying to get some like outfit ideas and that kind of thing, to kind of collect them and like pull pieces of them, put them on the character. Okay. Because that'll make it a little bit more interesting. But yeah, I don't want to dress up a character too much.
Right.
If it's gonna be a pain to like get all the detail over and over. But you want to have a turnaround. So like you want to have your page of the character. Like this is the ideal situation: is you make your character, you have kind of a blurb about who they are as a character, maybe some of their attributes, and then you have like a side profile, front and back profile of the character. Um, and it's just I'm too excited to get into the comic, so I don't do that. Even though it would be a net gain because it's not only extra content I can put in a comic, and add in, but it's also going to help me with the character, you know, like now and in the future.
Yeah, I it's funny you said that because I had a buddy of mine I follow on Twitch. I hadn't seen him on in a while, but he was making a comic of his own as well, and he would do that. He would do a side profile, front profile, and rear profile of each character, and then he'd draw them all out, and then he would start entering them into scenes. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this is fascinating. I was like, does everybody do this?
No, not everybody does that.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. It's however our I mean, I jump from one thing to the next, so I get it. Like I'm always up for the next. What's gonna happen next? I want to move past this. I want to get this down and then move.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it.
Well, some of the fun, there's a lot of fun to be had in designing the characters. So like a big character like Michael was, that did take some sketching, and to have him look so dynamic was just really, really interesting. And because when I was approaching him, I was like, he's not going to be this divine, angelic kind of usual like depiction. I want him to be a warrior, first and foremost, one that is God's warrior, and then he's going to have his trophies and he's going to be wearing them, so that was a fun implementation. And then it's like he has originally on all the angels, all the demons, I was going to have eyeballs put on them somewhere. It's the eye of God on all the entities. But I think for now it's just going to be on Envy and on Michael, and I think that's going to play a really good role in their rivalry. But another fun thing was setting up Envy's costume design, or her armor design, because when I see descriptions of the demons and like the Goetia and everything, I wanted to not actually like depict them that way, because I mean, I didn't have that vision, but like I wanted to put that in there. I don't have a really funny enough, I don't have a really good shot of Envy in issue number 2, but there's the eye is on her stomach, and around her eye are two just abstract shapes facing each other, and from the eyes emanating light. And you can't really see that in the screen, but if you look at it in the comic, you'll see. And that's supposed to be, so Belial is described as being two angels facing each other with a throne between them, and the thrones are versions of angels, like the wheels inside wheels. So I just kind of made this eyeball have that glowing,
Ah.
eminence from it. And then those two abstract shapes are supposed to just represent two angels facing each other. I can't draw two small
Yeah.
angels over and over on the armor. So,
No. That's a little too much attention to detail. I understand. Maybe once, and then just have like a faint depiction
yeah.
of it there moving forward. That way you're not having to draw the whole thing out every time.
But it changes a little bit here and there. And again, that's because I don't have a turnaround of my characters. So I might forget a little bit how the curve goes around the eye and it changes, but like people aren't paying that close attention. I'm not too concerned.
No, I had not even like noticed that. And then when you pointed that out, it kind of actually makes sense now that I look at it. So that's a little Easter egg. I like that.
So yeah, in for the question of like how I design characters, a little bit of lore kind of goes into it too.
Right.
Like Zagan is like supposed to have the head or depiction of an ox or a bull or something. So for his horns, I gave him big long horns, like a longhorn bull.
Yeah.
So I tried and put little bits of their lore into how they look.
I think it was the first issue where it had kind of like a spread of there it is. I like this. It almost looked like a prison lineup, and I liked it.
Yeah. That's basically what it is.
Freaking Jenny just looked so derpy, and I loved it. That's like that is amazing.
She had it rough.
Oh man, from real life to afterlife.
Yeah, this is quite the tragedy.
Poor thing.
Hey guys, I'm just letting you know there's about 6 minutes left. So
okay, appreciate it. All right. Let's see. What's a good thing to end on? Let's see. Where did you? Are there themes? So, you got the Gothic theme, and you got the heaven and hell dynamic. Which theme do you feel most drawn to exploring? Like death, like the fate, chaos, or I mean, I guess all three. Which theme do you gravitate most, at least in the current workings of Envy?
I like using the established tools of what I'm creating. So like the idea of the veil being a tool in the story is super fun.
And for those of you who don't know, veil's like kind of somewhat purgatory in a sense, and the establishment of where the person is going to go and the fight for that person's soul. And you'll find more about it if you purchase the comic. Not going to spoil everything, but that's a really interesting. That's honestly, I thought that was a really interesting concept. It never really crossed my mind to develop it like that. So very well done on that front.
I appreciate it. It's but like the more that I can get stuff like that to kind of be recurring, I find it to be fun and so like I'm exploring an afterlife.
Yeah.
I'm exploring somewhere where things hang out that people already kind of question.
Mhm.
So like the Sean Klin Shadow Productions YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He's a Navajo native that tells stories about some of their entities that they deal with, and one of them is a soul eater, and that was one of the entities that I put in issue number 2. Around the end, he didn't play a big part, but he's going to. So he's just a big monster.
Oh yeah.
So again, this is a piece of lore that is going to be. I'm trying to take what has been told about it and implement that, and then now it's also going to be used as a tool in the story itself. In just in issue number 4, again, it's going to be so fun, but highly recommend being around for when issue 4 drops. And but like as far as themes go, it's weird because like some of these are aesthetic themes, and then some of these are like themes on how you approach things. Like one of my main themes I want to approach is who's going to be the evil person, the evil thing here. Is it going to be the demon, or is it going to be this human? Is it these people in between? So that's kind of what I'm exploring.
Awesome. Well, hey man, I appreciate you coming on. Tell everybody where to follow you at on socials. And also, guys, don't forget to go check him out on Kickstarter and try and fund that goal if you can, if you'd like to.
Yes.
It'd be great.
Yes. We have another stretch goal here coming up. So the more funding, the better stuff, so that's a good thing. And you can find me at americandemoncomics.com. So again, americandemoncomics.com. My social media links are all up there. I highly ask that you subscribe to the newsletter. You can get all my updates, comic updates, event updates, Kickstarter updates, that kind of thing. So that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Well, man, it was great talking to you. I had a lot of fun, and we'll have to get you back on here again sometime soon.
Well, thank you for
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks, Austin, for coming on.
Thank you.
You have a good one, man.
I'm going to sit backstage here real quick. Had a great show there, Connor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was fun. I appreciate you very much for on the fly pulling that Kickstarter up. That was huge help.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to have to wrap her up. I've got another one to get.
Understandable. I appreciate you guys. Feel free to follow me over on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, all Drawn to Film. Same as it is posted on here. And I hope to see you guys again next time. Thank you.
Have a good one, everyone.